You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
The views expressed by the individuals during this broadcast are their own opinions, and they may not be the same as those of their group or other organizations they may be involved with.
All medical advice during our broadcast is not a medical opinion and should be checked with your medical physician.
Oh yeah, baby, that's lovely.
Good morning, it's August the 26th, and welcome to Psychedelics and Cannabis Educational News, found right here at paceradio.net. Good morning, Rev Cindy.
Good morning, Al. How are you?
I'm not doing too bad, but every once in a while, as you can see, I get the sun in my eyes, and I can't see.
At least it's a nice day enough out for you to be sitting outside while you do the broadcast.
Yes, exactly, yeah. And the thing is, that's a reflection. That's a reflection off of glass on a greenhouse that keeps beaming me in the eye. So hopefully I don't get blinded while I'm trying to read the news. I'll have to get real close.
I have to do that just so I can read it sometimes.
So how are you today?
I'm good. I realized while we were chatting before the show that this is my last show before I leave for Mexico. We have next week, of course, is Labor Day. The week after, I actually have to work at a shop, so I won't be able to be here, and then I'm gone. I won't see everybody until I am home from Mexico on October 7th. It's crazy.
There you go. So we're talking like early October before you're back on doing the news again.
Yeah, crazy.
So in the meantime, everybody know that either Glenn or Steve will be filling in for Cindy. And who knows, maybe I'll do the odd broadcast by myself again.
And you've done that. I've seen you do that a few times over the years.
Yeah, exactly. It's just always nice to have somebody to banter with. You're doing the show.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. All right, talking about doing the show, let's get at her. First story is up.
Yeah, coming to us from StratCan. Retail cannabis sales continue to cool off in Canada.
That's right. Retail cannabis sales continue to cool in Canada after nearly 5 years of growth, with sales in April hitting a year-over-year low with $518 million in sales, compared to $525 million in sales in April of 2023. The newest figures from Stats Canada show 7 of the past 10 months with month-over-month declines, with a peak of $564 million in August of 2023, while sales surged significantly in the first several years of legalization. In the past year, that momentum has begun to wane.
Statistics Canada does periodically update their previous monthly figures as new data comes in, with the data quality for most months. While the data quality for most months is considered excellent, the most recent 4 months are considered very good or good. The newest wholesale cannabis sales figures from Stats Canada show a similar trend, with wholesale sales dropping from a peak of $597 million in February of this year, followed by now 4 months of decline.
You can see it in those charts, up and down. Yeah. As of August the 13th, there were 3,722 licensed cannabis retail stores in Canada. British Columbia has 523, Alberta 709, Saskatchewan 190, 209 in Alberta, 1,822 right here, good old Ontario. Like, that's basically half, almost half of what's in the country.
Yep.
Is here in Ontario. Yeah. Quebec 99, New Brunswick 2750 in Nova Scotia, 5 in PEI, 59 in Newfoundland and Labrador. The Territory has got 6. Nunavut 2, and Yukon has got 6.
And New Brunswick actually has 27 public stores plus 9 new private stores, because they just allowed that.
Oh,
and 6 farm gate stores, and that brings their total up to 42.
Correct. I see that now. A little longer on the line, and being that you're there. And 6 farm gate stores. If you look at the rest of the list, they're the only ones that list the farm gate stores, because I know Ontario's got, I think, 3.
Yeah, well, they might be including that in the whole 1822 as well, instead of breaking it down. New Brunswick, like, they have both public, which is like we only have the public stores. We have everything's in the Nova Scotia Liquor Commission. New Brunswick did the same thing, except for had separate stores.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So they have those. They just, a year and a half ago, allowed some privatization.
Right.
And the farm gate a couple of years ago, which I had the joy of visiting one. It was pretty amazing.
Yeah, I'd like to go see one myself, and haven't had that opportunity. So
we should do it. Well, you should do it.
Yeah, I got to
find more when I'm driving through New Brunswick. I'd like to find maybe another one the next drive type thing.
Yeah. Give it a leapfrog around, take a look at all of them. All right, on to the next story.
Coming to us from Cannabis and Tech today. Germany cannabis legalization is here to stay.
With a population of over 83 million people, Germany is currently the largest country to adopt a national adult use cannabis legalization measure. The first provisions of Germany's historic CanG legalization law took effect on April the 1st of 2024, with adults 18 years or older now permitted to cultivate, possess, and consume recreational cannabis. Unfortunately, not everyone is happy with the implementation of the new law. Leading up to the legalization implementation date in Germany, the nation's conservative opposition vowed to overturn the policy change if or when they gain control of the Germany's government.
In our view, drugs policy, particularly with respect to protecting young people, is an issue of such central significance that we will revoke the legalization of cannabis in the event we take power. Lawmaker Thorsten Frey previously stated at the time. In any possible coalition talks, the rolling back of the legalization will be a firm standpoint for us. It's an illusion that the law allowing cultivation for personal use will drain the black market. It's not the case that every consumer will grow their own or join a so-called social club, he also said.
Germany drugs. Do they not have a big beer festival over there in Germany?
Yeah, all the time.
All the time, exactly.
Pretty much, right? Like Oktoberfest, yes, that's what you're going for. But
correct.
They're known for their beer and sauerkraut.
Yeah, last I checked, alcohol was a drug.
Yep.
Cannabis opponents like Thorsten Frey, who continue to spread prohibition as talking points in Germany, seem to completely disregard the fact that Germany already had a public policy approach like the one that opponents are demanding, and that approach to cannabis public policy failed miserably. Under prohibition, the unregulated market had 100% control of the domestic cannabis industry, which is why calls to return it under the premise that legalization does not completely eliminate the unregulated market is disingenuous at best. The point is not lost in Germany's health minister, Karl Lauterbach.
So Friedrich Merz wants cannabis to return to the monopoly on supply for the black market. He rejects legal alternatives such as the Morocco clan. Voters are being taken for fools when people say if there is a ban, no one will smoke weed anymore. We had a ban and it never helped. This is stated by Karl Lauterbach in a recent social media post translated from German to English for us. Whether cannabis opponents in Germany like it or not, legalization in Germany is already showing signs of working. Personal cannabis cultivation is already proving to be very popular with adult consumers in Germany, as reflected by a recent YouGov poll, which found that 7% of poll participants indicated that they had already purchased cannabis clones or seeds since legalization took effect. Commercial sales of cannabis clones and seeds were legalized in Germany as part of the nation's new cannabis law.
Yeah, I wonder how they're selling theirs, because we don't see too many in stores around here. I can tell you that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, as far as clones, yeah. In addition to the 7% of poll participants indicating they had already purchased cannabis clones or seeds, another 11% of the participants responded that they plan to purchase cannabis clones or seeds in the future. That increased rate of home cultivation in Germany directly combats the unregulated market. Another major component of Germany's legalization model involves permitting adults to join cultivation associations from which to legally source their cannabis. Starting next month, the regulators in Germany began accepting applications for cultivation associations.
In a recent nationwide survey conducted in Germany by Pravana BKK, 44% of self-reported regular cannabis consumers indicated that they plan to join one of the country's cultivation associations once they launch in their area. Another 27% of occasional cannabis consumers also indicated that they plan to join an association. Much like the rise in home cultivation, associations will further erode Germany's unregulated cannabis markets. The eventual launch of regional adult use cannabis commerce pilot programs later this year will also further combat Germany's unregulated market.
The unregulated cannabis market in Germany will never be 100% eliminated. It won't be, just like alcohol didn't eliminate the illegal market either. Just as the unregulated market for tobacco and alcohol products will never be completely eliminated. However, that is not to say that cannabis policy monetization efforts are not worth it. According to the 2021 report from Heinrich Heine University, Düsseldorf, Germany should save 1.05 billion euros annually by no longer enforcing cannabis prohibition, in addition to judiciary savings of 313 million euros per year. Whether someone consumes cannabis or not, they should realize that cannabis prohibition is a colossal waste of limited public resources, and a more sensible approach to cannabis policy is the right move. Here.
And that's where a lot of the money goes is paying the cops and paying the courts to do what they do. Tons of money saved there. Cannabis opponents in Germany seem to be predicting a potential legalization buyer's remorse on the horizon. But if Germany is like other jurisdictions that have legalized recreational cannabis, the prediction by cannabis opponents will not materialize. According to a recent poll conducted by Research Co., a strong majority of Canadians, 54% of us, were still in favor of legalization 5 years after the nation's policy change. In the United States, youth cannabis consumption rates have plummeted in the last decade as more jurisdictions have modernized their cannabis policies to permit regulated sales.
By every measure, legalization is superior to prohibition, and most German citizens will no doubt recognize the fact as time goes on.
Mm-hmm.
So, there you go. There was something I was going to mention in there, but lost that thought. It happens. Always planning, always thinking, right? Got to know what's going on.
I do that a lot. Yeah.
I go, oh, what was that thing I wanted to touch on? And, yeah, that happens. Alrighty, here we go. Next article.
Coming to us from Psy Post, low-dose long-term administration of cannabis compound reverses brain aging.
Yeah, in a new study that could pave the way for new treatments targeting age-related cognitive decline, researchers have discovered that low-dose, long-term administration of a key cannabis component can reverse aging process in the brain and has an anti-aging effect overall. The study, conducted by teams from the University Hospital Bonn and the University of Bonn in collaboration with the Hebrew University in Israel, focused on the effects of THC on aging mice.
The results, which were published in the journal ACS Pharmacology and Translation Science, suggest that THC can rejuvenate cognitive function in older mice by influencing key molecular pathways in the brain. Aging is often associated with a decline in cognitive abilities, which is thought to result from the deterioration of brain cells and the connections between them. Previous research had hinted that the endocannabinoid system, a complex network of receptors and signaling molecules in the brain and other organs, plays a crucial role in this process.
Specifically, the cannabinoid receptor type CB1, which is abundant in the brain, appears to be linked to brain aging. Loss of CB1 activity in mice has been shown to lead to significant age-related deficits in learning, memory, and neuron survival. With this in mind, researchers set out to explore whether enhancing CB1 activity with low doses of THC could have the opposite effect, potentially reversing some aspects of brain aging. They were particularly interested in how THC might affect mTOR, a protein that acts as a central regulator of cell growth, metabolism, and aging. mTOR signaling has been linked to both cognitive performance and the aging process, making it a key target for interventions aimed at extending healthy lifespan.
To investigate, the researchers used a group of male mice that were either young, 4 months old, or old, 18 months old. The mice were randomly assigned to receive either a low dose of THC or placebo for a period of 28 days. THC was administered continuously through subcutaneous mini pumps, which allowed the researchers to control the dosage and ensure a consistent delivery. The study focused on several key areas: brain function, the levels of specific proteins involved in synaptic signaling, and the overall metabolic state of the mice. The researchers monitored the mice's body weight, food intake, and activity levels throughout the experiment. Additionally, they performed detailed biochemical analysis of the mice's brain, blood plasma, and fat tissue to assess how THC affected the mTOR signaling and the metabolome, which is a comprehensive snapshot of the metabolites or small molecules present in the body.
In the brains of the older mice, THC treatment led to temporary but significant increase in mTOR activity, particularly in the hippocampus, a region set critical for learning and memory. This increase in mTOR activity has accompanied by a rise in the levels of key synaptic proteins such as and PSD95, which are essential for the formulation and maintenance of synapses, the connections between neurons. Furthermore, researchers observed that THC treatment significantly boosted the metabolic activity in the hippocampus. This was evidenced by the increased levels of metabolites involved in energy production, such as those associated with glycolysis and the citric acid cycle, which are pathways that generate the energy needed for cellular processes. Interesting, these changes are most pronounced after 14 days of treatment and tended to normalize by day 28.
In contrast to the brain, the adipose tissue of the THC-treated mice showed a decrease in the mTOR activity and a reduction in the levels of amino acids and carbohydrate metabolites, similar to what is observed during caloric restriction or intense physical exercise. So just to put this in layman's, when you're on a diet or working out, both of which are known to have anti-aging effects. This reduction was particularly evident after 28 days of treatment, suggesting a dual phase effect of THC, an initial increase in brain activity followed by a systematic shift towards energy conservation and reduced metabolic activity. We now have been able to show that treatment with THC has a tissue-dependent and dual effect on mTOR signaling and the metabolome, explained Andreas Belicki-Gorzo from the Institute of Molecular Psychiatry at the UKB, who is also a researcher at the University of Bonn. We concluded that long-term THC treatment initially has a cognition-enhancing effect by increasing energy and synaptic protein production in the brain, followed by an anti-aging effect by decreasing the mTOR activity and metabolic processes in the periphery. Our study suggests that the dual effect on mTOR activity and the metabolome could be the basis for an effective anti-aging and cognition-enhancing medicine.
Nice. Now I've lost where you were at, so keep going.
Okay. While the findings are promising, the study does have some limitations. The research was conducted in mice, and while these animals are commonly used as models for human biology, there are significant differences between species. It is not yet clear whether these same effects would be observed in humans, and further studies are needed to explore the potential therapeutic application of THC in aging populations.
Additionally, the study focused on specific dose and duration of THC treatment. It is possible that different doses or longer treatment periods could produce different results, either more beneficial or potentially harmful. Future research will need to explore these variables in greater detail to determine the optimal treatment protocol for maximizing the anti-aging effects while minimizing any potential risk. Another important consideration is the broader impact of long-term THC use. Although the study did not find evidence of CB1 receptor downregulation, a common concern with prolonged cannabinoid exposure, the long-term effects on other psychological systems, particularly in older adults, remain to be fully understood.
In a previous study, researchers from Bonn, in collaboration with a team from the Hebrew University of Jerusalem, demonstrated that long-term, low-dose THC administration can reverse age-related decline in the brain by enhancing cognitive abilities and increasing synapse density in older mice. However, the question of whether these beneficial effects on the aging brain are connected to changes in mTOR signaling and metabolitic processes remains unresolved. The study, bidirectional effect of long-term THC treatment, delta-9 THC treatment on mTOR activity and metabolome, was authored by a lot of people.
Yeah, it was. There you go. Good stuff. Anti-aging. Like they say, the tree of life, right?
That's right.
Yeah, wouldn't that be interesting? Keep applying that, get a few more years, just even through a topical. Who knows? Alrighty, last story before we go to break is ready to go.
Yeah, coming to us from Green Market Report, Nevada awards 6 more cannabis consumption lounge permits.
All right, that's what we need here in good old Ontario and Canada in general. This lottery was a redo of an earlier one that resulted in winners who weren't actually qualified for the licenses. Nevada cannabis regulators awarded 6 new cannabis consumption permits via lottery in a move to further expand the tourist-heavy state's attractions for ganja fans.
According to a news release from the Nevada Cannabis Compliance Board, the winners included Cora Cannabis Lounge, LLP, Nevada Consumption Lounge, LLP, and 4 other businesses that did not agree to have their identities made public. All 6 of the winners were social equity applicants, the board said, and the licenses are still prospective, meaning not yet finalized.
Yeah. The lottery was held for the second time this week after originally drawing was found by an internal audit to have picked 6 entrepreneurs who didn't meet state residency requirements for licensing. In the second round, 8 new applicants were entered into the lottery. The board is issuing refunds for the $2,500 license application fee to those not selected.
Oh, that's good. The new market entrants will join at least 2 other consumption lounges that have opened in Las Vegas as of last month, with another 38 reportedly in the pipeline.
Wow.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
The business model has not proven itself as quickly as retail sales, with lounges acting more as side attractions for consumers than actual revenue drivers. At the time, Planet 13's Larry Schaefer told Green Market Report that it's not a money maker in my eyes, mostly because of restrictions on outside products.
There's the paperwork there.
So you have to purchase what they're selling in there to use their cannabis lounge.
Yeah. Now I know that I've been told in the past that the lounges aren't really a big money maker either, and that was by a person who owned one, who ran one.
Yeah. There was a couple of lounges here. They've all closed down, but the lounges weren't the money maker. I mean, I think 2 of the lounges had dispensaries beside them, and like the same owner. And they made money at the dispensary, and the lounge was really more of a
spot just to smoke versus having being, See, I would think it would become more profitable if they could open them up to allow them to be able to sell cannabis products.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Either anything from edibles to herb.
Yeah. A lot of people want to go home, like at that time wanted to go home. This was before a lot of the bans showed up for apartment buildings and et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
I think the lounges would do a lot better now than they did then, simply because those changing laws.
Because those have, now that people don't have a spot to consume, and some places like your province has got different restrictions on public consumption. Yeah. Not being able to consume on a sidewalk.
No, you have to be standing in now people consume wherever they want outdoors, but you have to be careful too, because like the cops do want to bust you for something, because they're still not used to not busting people for the smell of cannabis. Yeah. So, you have to be careful that you go to a smoking area, which there are dozens and dozens and dozens of them all over the province, but technically the only place that you can smoke cannabis is where you can smoke cigarettes.
Right. Yeah, that's basically what it is here. Where you can smoke cigarettes, you can smoke cannabis. All righty. Well, it's time for us to take a break.
Wicked.
All right. Commercial time. Off we go. Time for everybody to hear from those who help us inform our viewers. You're watching Psychedelics and Cannabis Educational News here at paceradio.net.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. Open Monday to Friday from 10 till 7 p.m. or by chance. Check out our flags, our t-shirts, plus our hats. And look of that supply of rolling papers, plus much more. We've got bongs and your favorite herbal vaporizers. Look at all the incense we have, as well as for those who collect knives, check out these knives in our collection. And while you're here, stop in to see Shay at the piercing room, where you can get poked by Shay. Daily deals, check them out. Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford, Ontario.
When you have a pain that's reached its peak, Legacy for 20, it's so unique. If organic cannabis is what you seek, here's your trusted partner 7 days a week. Suppository salves, vapes and drops, topicals, edibles, infused pop. Just when life seems like it ain't easy, at Legacy 420 enjoy a pop freezy. Lab tested products, make them the GOAT. Legacy 420 out on your road. Legacy 420 in Tyndonega Mohawk territory. Indigenous organic cannabis at its finest.
What do you find at paceradio.net? People advocating cannabis education.
Limestone City Hydroponics is Kingston, Ontario's hydroponics shop. Take your growing to the next level and create the optimal environment with a tent kit, or maximize your yield with an ebb and flow flood table kit. Either way, Limestone City Hydroponics has more sizes and options to fit your needs. Are you looking for the power of the sun that adapts to your budget? Then look no further, as they have professional grow lighting. They have indoor grow systems that are easy and cost effective, with many options to fit your living space and lifestyle. Cultivate your growing potential. We have everything you need to succeed. And if you can't make it to the store, they offer local delivery to the greater Kingston area. Remember, when you're looking for experts to help you grow, then look no further than the locally owned Limestone City Hydroponics, 105 Sunderland Drive in Kingston, Ontario. Call them at 613-548-0420.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
Oh, that makes me smile.
We're back from our break, and I better exhale before we go live. Still medicating. What do you think of my shirt?
I love it. I have one or 100 too.
Yes, yeah. I've got several. For those who don't know, the Dabber shirts. For those that are maybe watching on the Treating Yourself Facebook page, that picture is Marco.
Yeah. How is he doing?
He's back here in Canada and trying to get in line for what do you call it, transplants and stuff like that.
Oh, well, we all send our love and keep our fingers crossed.
Yeah, exactly. All righty, you ready? On to the next story. First one of this half. Here we go.
Coming to us from MJ Biz Daily, Alberta becomes third Canadian province to allow cannabis delivery via Uber Eats.
Through partnership with Leafly, Uber Eats is now delivering cannabis to consumers in Alberta. Albertans who are 18 and older can place orders with licensed cannabis retailers in the Uber Eats app and have it delivered to their door by the store's certified staff, according to an Uber Canada news release.
Uber Eats' partnership with online cannabis platform Leafly helps retailers offer safe, convenient options for people in Alberta to purchase cannabis products and have them delivered, a move that's expected to reduce impaired driving and improve road safety. Klaas Kinnerum, who is the general manager of grocery and retail for Uber Eats in Canada, he said this in a statement. According to Public First research, 14% of cannabis users admit to driving a vehicle within 2 hours of consuming cannabis.
Over the last few years, we have invested heavily in delivery offering, and selection has expanded tremendously. Kinnerum says Uber Eats has grown quickly to become a versatile platform usable by diverse businesses, large and small.
Yes, Alberta is the third Canadian province to allow Uber Canada to offer cannabis delivery through Leafly, which has offices in Seattle and Toronto. Uber Eats' partnership with Leafly began with Ontario deliveries in 2022 and expanded into British Columbia in 2023.
The first Alberta cannabis retailers to use the platform are Dank Cannabis, Numo Cannabis, Oak Ridge Cannabis, Octon Cannabis, Oil and Grass Cannabis. It's a familiar name all the way through that. This partnership will help us to continue to expand our research to even more people in Calgary. Archie Kalkat, co-founder of Dank Cannabis, said in a statement.
Yeah, just like the in-store experience, our provincially certified delivery staff understand and comply with local regulations around cannabis transactions, including checking ID.
There you go. Deliveries.
Well, that's really cool to know, because when I come back from Mexico, I'm spending 4 days in the Toronto area before I come back to Nova Scotia. So it's nice to know that when I land, as I'm leaving the airport, I can place my Uber Eats cannabis and have a joint like moments after I get to the hotel and be able to go smoke it.
There you go. But you're Toronto, there's like fucking 3 cannabis stores in every corner.
I was going to say, yeah, it's only the cannabis store is only a 2-minute walk from my hotel.
yeah, exactly. All right. On to the next story. Here we go.
Coming to us from Marijuana Moment. Former Minnesota Governor Jesse Ventura calls on cannabis consumers to boycott state fair for banning cannabis but allowing alcohol and tobacco.
Yeah, as you commented before the show started, the headline uses the word cannabis and marijuana in it.
Yep.
Yeah. Alrighty. Minnesota's former governor is calling on people to boycott this year's state fair, prohibiting marijuana use at the venue, while at the same time allowing attendees to consume alcohol and tobacco, even though the state's enacted a cannabis legalization law last year. But while Jesse Ventura is fired up about the fair's policy, he's also optimistic about the prospects of federal cannabis reform under a Harris-Walz administration. In an interview with Marijuana Moment on Thursday, Ventura said he does hope that Vice President Harris Vice President Harris, the 2024 Democratic nominee, and a running mate, current Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, advocate for an end to federal cannabis prohibition on the campaign trail, saying it would be smart for them to do so, given the popularity of the issue.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, if they would come out and say they would lift the federal ban on cannabis, marijuana, I think that could help ensure their victory, he said. There is a tremendous amount of cannabis users out there who would vote accordingly so that they would not feel federally like they're still criminals in any way, shape, or form. And they can go visit their friends the next, I was going to say province, but state over, and not have to worry about traveling with their like cannabis in their trunk, right? And, you know, taking their wares to party with too. During her time in the Senate, Harris sponsored a comprehensive cannabis legalization bill, and she's called for major reform as recently as March during a roundtable with presidential pardon recipients. Waltz signed cannabis legalization into law in Minnesota last year, and he invited Ventura, a longstanding champion of reform, to attend the signing ceremony.
Despite Minnesota enacting legalization, however, Ventura says the state fair is not allowing cannabis use, even as it makes accommodations for tobacco use in specific areas and will have alcohol available for purchase on site at beer gardens and other vendors. He says it's supposed to be illegal. It's supposed to be legal in the state of Minnesota. How can they outlaw it at the state fair when they allow tobacco and alcohol? From my point being, is this. All we ask in the cannabis world is to treat us equally, treat us fairly, treat us the same as you do alcohol and tobacco. And unfortunately, that's not what's happening. We're being discriminated against, even though it's now legal.
All cannabis smokers ought to boycott the state fair, Ventura, a former wrestler and actor, said. Don't go there until we're given our equal rights and we're treated equally to tobacco and alcohol, or better. Like we deserve better, like cancer versus fighting cancer.
Yeah.
Yeah. The spokesperson for the Minnesota State Fair confirmed in an email to Marijuana Moment that the smoking and vaping of cannabis is prohibited on the Minnesota State Fairgrounds during the 2024 event.
This policy is in accordance with Minnesota law that prohibits the use and possession of cannabis in a location where the smoke, aerosol, or vapor of a cannabis product could be inhaled by a minor. The sale of products containing THC and CBD is not permitted at the 2024 Minnesota State Fair. In a separate interview with WCCO-AM, Ventura said, "You can go over there, get smashed on alcohol, go on a ride, and throw up all over everybody because you've been drinking."
Yeah, they have 18 designated smoking places for tobacco, which, you know, can be inhaled by a minor too, just saying.
Right, just saying, yeah.
Just saying. And yet they have banned cannabis, he said. While not all states that have legalized cannabis allow the product to be consumed or purchased at their respective state fairs, California made history this year with both cannabis sales and on-site consumption being permitted for the first time.
It's an agricultural crop.
Yep.
Right? Farms are agricultural fairs, you know. In New York, on-site cannabis use and sales were allowed at the state fair in 2021 after adult use legalization was enacted. However, this fair stopped permitting public consumption at last year's event, though attendees could buy cannabis products from nearly a dozen local growers at a cannabis farmers market held in conjunction with the event.
Oh my God. At a cannabis farmers market. My heart skipped a beat when you read that. I got to be honest. That's beautiful. I want to go to New York and go to the cannabis farmers market, but I'm smoking it on site.
They allowed that because of the problems of getting the stores opened, and there was a bunch of products sitting around. They had growers and stuff like that. That was all legal cannabis, but yeah, so that's what they did.
Well, I think that's beautiful. Like, I mean, I hope that even though once they get the stores going, they keep up the cannabis farmers market, because that's really cool. Yeah. That's a tourist thing. Like, I've never wanted to go to New York before. Guess where I want to go now? I want to go to New York because of this. Like it's a tourist thing. Like all of a sudden they've got a new tourist. That's really cool. Outside of state policy, Ventura also shared his perspective on national cannabis politics as the November election with marijuana moment. For example, asked about former President Donald Trump, the 2024 Republican nominee, the former governor said, "You can't trust his comments on the issue, including his recent signaling that he's inclined to back cannabis decriminalization as more states enact legalization. You've got to look at what he does. And Donald Trump is out for Donald Trump," Ventura said. "If he thinks that supporting cannabis will help him get elected, he'll temporarily support it until he gets elected. And then when he's elected, he'll probably ignore it."
It's a very different story under Walz, as Vice President Ventura says. Ventura goes on to say that you can trust him. He's a man of integrity, and if Governor Walz says they're going to lift the federal prohibition, unless Kamala Harris vetoes him, which I don't think she would, it'll happen. That's the kind of person he is.
And he's already proved it in his own state.
Correct. Exactly.
Before he even gets there, he's proved it, right? Yeah. So that makes me trust that he's on board for like decriminalizing or legalizing cannabis. Yeah.
And some people have a problem with Harris because of the fact that she was a prosecutor in California and she put people in jail for cannabis,
which I understand. So that was Kamala Harris then. She's done a lot of educating since then. And to me, that's proof that the activists are doing the right thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They're being listened to. They're changing minds, which is what we wanted to do in the first place.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That was the goal, right?
Yeah.
Now, a Democratic senator sponsoring bipartisan cannabis expansion legislation separately told Marijuana Moment this week that he believes if she's elected president this November, she'll be ready to sign cannabis reform bills into law. Other lawmakers similarly predicted more momentum on cannabis legalization at the state and federal levels under a Harris-Walz administration.
Yeah. Meanwhile, back in April, Ventura told Marijuana Moment that he isn't planning to run for elected office again in the foreseeable future, choosing instead to commit his total focus to his newly launched cannabis brand. If he was running, however, he said he'd make cannabis legalization a top campaign issue to align with a uniquely loyal base of consumers eager for reform. For now, Jesse Ventura Farms is a hemp business offering a line of cannabis products that are available nationwide since the crop is federally legal as long as it contains no more than 0.3% THC by dry weight. But once Minnesota regulators begin licensing recreational cannabis businesses under the state's legalization law that's being implemented, he says he intends to expand the state-level operation. Go, Jesse!
There you go.
I think that's all really exciting. It's nice to see people being reformed. We have a past, I was going to say a past reefer reporter, that, she was the same way. She was, she would stand on a soapbox and go, "Oh, it's bad." And now she's all for it. She uses it as a medicine herself. So that kind of stuff shows me that activists are, the ones that are trying to educate and be calm about it and whatnot are being listened to and they're making differences. Mm-hmm. And that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, getting people to change their minds. Mm-hmm. All righty. Now, this next story, we need more of this here. We need more.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
Coming to us from StratCan, Edmonton Fringe Fest gets cannabis consumption site.
Yeah, an Edmonton Festival welcomed its first official cannabis consumption space at this year's Edmonton Fringe Festival from August the 15th to the 25th. The fence and age-gated space provides a place for festival attendees to purchase and consume cannabis edibles and beverages, along with alcohol-free mocktails in an exclusive space. See, that's the lounge thing, right?
Yeah. Now, do notice that they're only allowing edibles and beverages, et cetera, but still, it's a start, right?
Correct.
Positive intent events Pi, recently launched the adults-only alcohol-free cannabis consumption garden space as a way to encourage safe, responsible cannabis consumption at festivals and other events. The Pi Experience Garden event has been located inside the gates of the Edmonton Fringe Fest since the first day of the 10-day event located across the street from the Strathcona Farmers Market. Pi operates an age check for entry and a second age check to order and receive delivery of cannabis products on site.
Cannabis deliveries are in partnership with the Edmonton retailer Numo Cannabis. Guests can also order in advance by visiting Numo's online store for pickup at the Pi Garden. Now, in a quote here, it says from Daft Roderick, he's managing partner at Pi, says that our vision for positive intent events is to create event spaces for adults who want a fun, responsible cannabis consumption experience while enjoying music, art, and entertainment. The Friends Festivals courage to be the first top level event organizer to support an exclusive adults only cannabis garden event demonstrates their commitment to creating an amazing guest experiences and perfectly aligns with our goals for Pi.
The updates to the gaming, liquor, and cannabis regulation that allowed licensed cannabis retailers to set up temporary sales as at adult-only events like trade shows and festivals were announced by the provincial government in December of 2023 and took effect in January of this year. A statement from the province said the aim is to reduce barriers for businesses and better combat the illegal market. Earlier this year, Alberta began allowing cannabis retailers to apply for a license extension for the purpose of selling cannabis at a minors prohibited entertainment event or cannabis industry trade show. However, municipal licensing for on-site sales has remained an issue for other cannabis consumption spaces at Alberta events this year.
The Edmonton International French Theatre Festival is in its 43rd year, highlighting hundreds of theatre productions across dozens of venues for the city for 11 days.
Oh, that's exciting. That's pretty cool.
2023, they open up all that stuff for festivals and all that. Come on, Doug. Come on, man.
Come on, the rest of Canada.
Exactly.
I mean, BC is pretty close to Alberta. I think you're going to see them allowing a lot of the same stuff very soon. But like the rest of Canada, like we're kind of like, dragging our feet.
We have, public consumption. We have half the stores in the country. Let's get this stuff involved in festivals and different events. Makes sense.
Yeah, let's bring the Karma Cup back.
And as you said, they allow smoking at the events, but they don't allow the cannabis smoking because children might inhale the smoke, but they don't seem to be concerned about the smoke that.
But if we're having, like, one of the things that Alberta is that it has to be an adult event, 18 plus.
Yeah.
So I mean, if we're having events, anywhere else in Canada, so my mind goes to like the Karma Cup. It really does. If Ontario allowed that 19 plus, allowed it at 19 plus, well, like things like the Karma Cup could come back.
Yeah.
With all the legal people being there, right?
Yeah.
They have to be able to control how much you buy because they only want you to buy an ounce at a time. So, I mean, like you should be able to walk in, everybody gets a punch card and you fill it up and then you're done buying for the day and you can sit there and enjoy the music.
That's what the bud tenders do right now. When they go to these events and they get samples, is there's a card that gets marked.
Yep.
Either it's initialed, punched, whatever, right?
Yep.
And that way, they leave like that. So, alrighty.
Let's do it.
On to the last story of the day. Here we go.
Coming to us from Medical Express, researchers to test new approach for detecting cannabis in breath, which we did talk about this one before.
Yeah. With cannabis now outpacing alcohol as America's daily drug of choice, there is a critical need for a scientifically validated breath test to detect the recent use of the substance in drivers. But developing such a breath test has proved a significant challenge.
Last year, researchers at NIST in the University of Colorado, yeah, we did do this one before, found that a single breath is the same one. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? There you go. Yeah, go ahead, finish that paragraph, I guess.
That a single breath test may not be reliable in detecting recent cannabis use because cannabis can linger in the body for weeks, making it difficult to distinguish between past and present use.
Yeah, and now I just so you know, I shut it down. But yeah, what they're going to go on about is they're going to be talking about the time that it takes for the amount of gas, basically, that is in your system, like exhaled gas, and how quickly that drops.
Yep.
So you'll do a test, and then they want to do another test an hour later to see if there's a big drop in the amount that they find, and that'll tell them more information.
Yeah, pretty cool. It's interesting. It's going to be neat to see if it works, but that still takes us back to, like, you know, not everybody that smokes cannabis, like, I mean, like, I've met people that get really, 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 really high after like a few puffs, and there's no way they could drive. But somebody who's been prescribed it and has been using it for years could probably drive. And they need to come up with a way to test us and see who gets a, you know, conditional license or not.
Yeah, it's
controversial. It's going to take a long time to figure it out. And I would not want to be the lawmakers.
No, it's there's no because there's no actual, you know, they've done the saliva tests, but yet, you know, it just shows consumption. It doesn't matter. It doesn't mean that the person is stoned. And say you just had one toke.
Yep.
Are you too impaired to drive after one toke? You know, it'd be like saying that you're too impaired to drive after one swallow of beer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is going to take a long time for them to figure out the whole cannabis and driving thing.
Yeah.
Because everybody's different.
Yeah. Well, you know, we've got that 5 nanogram limits, but they're trying to do a much quicker test or better test and an alternative test than the saliva. Stuff, right? So see what happens. All we can do is keep an eye on it, let everybody know when it happens. All right, anything you gotta say, do whatever before
I'm gonna miss everybody.
Yes,
I'll see you in like 5 or 6 weeks.
Yes, 5 or 6 weeks you're gone. Glenn or Steve will be filling in, and who knows, maybe it'll be the odd broadcast I'll do by myself, because, you know, not everybody's available every day of the week, right? So okay, other than that, that's the news for today. We hope you found it educational and informative. Thanks to Legacy 420, as well as Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, At-Eze, and Limestone City Hydroponics.ca. Other than that, we'll see you all Thursday, and don't forget to educate, medicate, and do not incarcerate.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
The opinions of the individuals during this broadcast are their own, and may not be the opinions of their group or other organizations they may be involved with. All medical advice during our broadcast is not a medical opinion and should be checked with your medical physician.
When you have a pain that's reached its peak, Legacy for 20, it's so unique. If organic cannabis is what you seek, here's your trusted partner 7 days a week. Suppository salves, vapes and drops, topicals, edibles, infused pop. Just when life seems like it ain't easy, at Legacy 420, enjoy a pop freezy. Lab tested products, make them the GOAT. Legacy 420 out on your road. Legacy 420 in Tyndonega Mohawk territory. Indigenous organic cannabis at its finest.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more, we've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
Limestone City Hydroponics is Kingston, Ontario's hydroponics shop. Take your growing to the next level and create the optimal environment with a tent kit, or maximize your yield with an ebb and flow flood table kit. Either way, Limestone City Hydroponics has more sizes and options to fit your needs. Are you looking for the power of the sun that adapts to your budget? Then look no further, as they have professional grow lighting. They have indoor grow systems that are easy and cost effective, with many options to fit your living space and lifestyle. Cultivate your growing potential. We have everything you need to succeed. And if you can't make it to the store, they offer local delivery to the greater Kingston area. Remember, when you're looking for experts to help you grow, then look no further than the locally owned Limestone City Hydroponics, 105 Sunderland Drive in Kingston, Ontario. Call them at 613-548-0420.
We are people advocating cannabis education here at paceradio.net.